Hello guys, in this video we are going to address one of the most common problem that's faced by majority of the aspirants when it comes to mains writing, so that you are not able to complete the paper on time. Now it's not just about completing the paper. See, when we are talking about mains, we are looking for 16, 17 quality answer and couple of average answer and one you may not be knowing also. So I'm talking about that 16, 17 quality answer. See, if you look at the toppers that we have in the first 100 itself, whether it is Kiran, Vikas, Rohim, Sonali, Sachin, Nilesh, all, there is one thing which is common for all, that they completed paper in time. For example, if you look at, I'll show you one. Okay, so the topic that we are going to cover will be this, but let me show you this. Let me start with this testimonial of Kiran. Okay, so let's start with this. So what he will tell you is how he improved 80 marks in mains compared to last prelims.
Thank you so much.
Last mains.
But this institute has been instrumental. I have to take a note of gratitude for the institute. All the faculty, especially Safir sir, has been very instrumental in this preparation. As part of the mains companion program, and truly Safir sir has been that companion throughout.
Hello all.
With respect to mains especially, it has been quite helpful. In terms of one of the strategy
My name is Sonali Jha. I have secured All India rank 89th in this year's civil services examination. I'm really grateful to team Civil 360 IAS and specifically to respected Safir sir. When I was preparing for
the UPSC.
Okay, so my point is, my point is very simple, that we are going to see how you're going to cover the paper. Now, Kiran, just now you have seen, he improved 80 marks in the last attempt, and that actually helped him to come to the 53rd rank. So he's 53 because he improved 80 mark. In the previous attempt, he went till interview, and in his interview, along with Sachin, he attended the interview. Sachin got 41st rank that year, and Kiran couldn't clear. And this was his sixth attempt, and Sachin recommended us, and he joined, and he was able to clear this year. Now, what he did, my point is to discuss what they did, and that's something which you need to replicate. So if you look at, I'll attach the podcast of all these mentees, right? So one thing that you will see in common is they all look for 16, 17 high quality answers, one or two average answers, one you may not be knowing. This is what expected if you are looking for something like 120, 110 plus in your GS papers. Okay, so this is what we are looking for. Optional is completely different. Now for this, what you need to do is what we need to discuss in this session. So see, majority of the students think they are losing mark because lack of knowledge, or you don't have enough content, or you are weak in current affair. But in reality, that's not the case. One of the biggest reason that you lose mark, or the students lose mark, is because they're not able to complete the paper on time. See, and if you have an incomplete paper, that can easily cost you 10 to 20 mark. If you are easy, that's very minimum that you're going to lose, right? So today what I'll do is I'll discuss the practical system that can help you to consistently complete your UPSC mains paper. Now I'll give you one example. Kiran improved 80 mark, this one which you have seen, and my sociology student last year he got 219 and he got 276 this year. Or another, this is Ayush Pathak, he got IAS, and then Himanshu, he got 207, he got 267. All these I will attach along with this. Now, what they did differently is not improvement in content, because you already have the content, and that's the same with you guys also. You already have the content. The problem is you're not able to either complete in time, or you're not able to present well. So what I'm going to discuss here is how you're going to present well and you are going to complete the paper. Even if rest of the answers, if you have presented well, but an uncompleted paper, if you have an incomplete paper, that can easily cost you at least 20 marker, right? And this 20 marker is going to cost you maybe 300, 400 ranks, or whether you come in the list also. So that is why I'm giving that much importance to this area. So now the question is why students fail to complete the paper. Let's try to understand that. See, first thing is that you already are with a different mindset, a wrong mindset. See, the first, when you are writing the exam, the first star looks like I know this question. Let me write a beautiful introduction. Let me make a perfect diagram. Let me write a strong conclusion. And because of this itself, the first few answers become excessively long. That should not be the strategy. You should give equal importance to that 16, 17 quality answers, equal time, equal importance, equal weightage. It's not that one you should give too much extra importance, beautiful introduction. No, that's not the case. So the first few answers should not become excessively long, nor it should take long time. So if you are spending 13 minutes, 14 minutes, 15 minutes on an answer, that should be written in 10, 11 minutes. So ideally, the answer that you're going to write, it should deserve 10, 11 minutes. But if you are spending 2 minutes extra, 3 minutes extra on one question, then you are going to, leave one particular question. So the damage may not be visible immediately when you're writing in the beginning, but that becomes visible in the last hour. And that is where you get panic also. And that is where the questions start getting, unanswered. Even the questions which you may not be able to answer towards the end. So that is why you fail to complete the paper, the way you manage your initial questions. So we need to have a strategy how you're going to manage that initial question also. Okay, now let's talk about this also. See, this is extremely important. It's very see, I cannot improve 7, 8 marks in a question. Don't even think about that. Even if I keep writing more, make beautiful introduction or anything, but 2, 3 marks improvement, 4 marks, that is possible, right? So never think that see, when you are leaving a question, instead of that, if you write an average question, even if I'm getting 4, 5 mark, that is better, because you cannot make that 5, 6 mark improvement in one question otherwise, even if you know it beautifully. This is something which you need to understand. So 7 to 8 mark extra that you are going to get, even if you know beautifully and write beautifully, that is a myth. That is not going to happen, right? But you can easily get anything between 1 to 4 simply by attempting a question with the basic knowledge that you have. Yes or no? And this 4 mark improvement, can you make it on a best question? No, you cannot. So it is better, to just attempt the question if you have something to write on that. So simply attempting the question itself will give you this kind of mark, right? And that is why when I'm talking about completion of paper, remember, it's not a luxury. It is a necessary. It's a necessity. You have to complete the paper. Without completing the paper, you cannot come out unless you don't know any single word about that particular question is asked. Like pink revolution is asked. I don't know what is that. Then I have to leave it. There is no other option. I cannot write blunder and I cannot waste my time over there. Unless I'm not sure about what is that, I cannot do anything. I cannot write random stuff there. That will go completely, against me. So there I'm wasting time. But if it is a general question, I have to attempt, because I get anywhere between 1 to 4. Pink revolution is asked and I'm writing anything other than what is asked, I won't get even one mark. So there is no point in doing that. So every attempted question gives you a chance to score. Every unattempted question is a guaranteed 0. Just remember this. If you are at least making an attempt with your knowledge, it's a GS paper, economy paper, geography paper, you know that, right? Unless it's a very factual oriented question, very rarely they will ask you. Polity and all, when they ask, you should be knowing that. So you have to attempt, right? Now, what does completing the paper actually mean to me or mean to my mentees? Let me talk about that, and then you will understand. See, again, many students misunderstand this. When I say, completing the paper, it doesn't mean just filling the pages. It doesn't mean writing anything. For example, pink revolution is asked. You cannot write anything there. If you don't know, that is why I told you there can be a possibility there. One question you may not know also. You cannot do anything on that. If you don't know, you have to leave it. It's a guaranteed 0. If you attempt and write anything also, it's a guaranteed 0. Unless you write that very correctly. So those question is not the one which I'm asking you to write, okay? And it's not about scribbling random content on a particular question. So when I say completing the paper, what does that mean is you need to address the demand of every question. Even briefly, even if it is imperfect, but still demand of the question need to be addressed. It should be taken care. So even if you know only maybe one part of the answer, but still at least you get some mark. A partial answer still can fetch some mark. It is not necessary it has to be complete. But the ping revolution one, which I have told you, if you don't know, then don't attempt it. A blank page is going to be 0. That's a guaranteed 0. Just understand this. This is a psychology. There may be one question which you may not know also. Right. Now let's talk about this 5-minute rule. See, most of the centers, they hand over the answer booklet a few minutes before the exam starts, maybe 5 minutes. And what the students do during that time, they start reading all 20 questions. And then you get panic, right? And then you start worrying and you start calculating. I know this, I don't know that. This looks difficult. This looks strange. This is a mistake. So instead, what you need to do is you need to use those 5 minutes strategically. Now, how you're going to use the 5 minutes strategically? See, do not scan the entire paper. That may create anxiety. So what you need to do is instead, you can look at your first answer, right? And structure that mentally and think about the introduction. So you can think about a different dimension. And when you get a question, the first thing that you need to do is you need to think about the different dimensions. And for each dimensions, couple of points, one example, right? And then you need to think about a conclusion. So introduction, dimension, and then conclusion. And we look at it one question, like that, not all question together. And we are giving equal importance to each of the question. And we are completely not biased towards any question. One question deserve, let's say 10 minutes it deserve or 11 minutes it deserve, means we give that. We move on after that. If you don't know one thing, then we'll just hold on and then we will complete. This is how you'll be completing the paper. It's not that you're going to read all the questions and see which one is easy that you're going to attempt first. Majority of the questions will be known to you. It's just about time management. Try to do this in your mocks and then you will see the difference. Optional, it is different strategy. I'll discuss that. Optional, when it comes to, we will answer those 10 markers faster. Here, let me complete this and then I'll discuss, okay? Because 10 markers are highly scoring. Getting 7-8 markers is very much easily possible in 10 marker with limited content, but 20 marker getting that 16 mark, even with beautiful content, it is very difficult. So that is why when your optional starts, initially you have 5 10 markers. Part 2 also you have 10 5 markers. And in the compulsory also, 10 markers I'm talking about. In compulsory also, 10 mark, 10 mark, 10 mark will be there in all the 3 questions. So that way, I take that 13 10 marker first. Okay, I'll come to that. So here, use the first 5 minutes for planning. And the moment the paper start, exam start, you already know what you're going to write, right? And that give you the momentum. Maybe you can do this for the first 2 questions also, not just the 1 question. But even if you're doing it for first question, that give you an introduction, that give you the body, that give you so you get that momentum. So use that 5 minutes intelligently. You don't use that 5 minutes to scan through all paper and get confused and that will create anxiety. Once you get the momentum, then things will automatically come. If you don't know the third question, as of now, you leave it. If you don't know, you leave it. If you know partially, then you address the demand accordingly, but you never, lose the time limit. If you know partially only, still you can come back. Look at the next question, right? So wherever you have time. I'll talk about the time also for each 10 marker and for 15 marker, I'll discuss the time. See, let me tell you, once you build the momentum, then things are going to be very easy. So use that 5 minutes to build that momentum. Make that first 2 answers better. That first 5 minutes, when you get the question paper, don't, read the entire paper and just get confused. Just look at that first 2 questions, or even the first question, that's fine. Get that momentum, then it will automatically flow. Okay, now the first 1 hour, that is more important. That is what actually going to decide everything. So the first 1 hour determines whether you complete your paper or not. Now, what many students write is, 5 questions in 1 hour. And that's where the problem begins. Instead, what you need to do is you need to create a target, right? So for example, for the 15 mark question, So I am going to, let's say I am attempting 15 mark questions. So I'll complete how much? 6 15 markers in 60 minutes. I can take 66 minutes, but I am just giving 6 minutes here. Sorry, 60 minutes here. That means I'm spending 10 minutes each for the 6 15 markers. Okay, why? Because see, ideally, as I told you, 6 questions, 15 marker, 15 marker can take 11 minutes. But here you are saving some time, right? If you can finish it in 60 minutes, it is well and good. Even if you stretch to, even if I plan to write in 60 minutes, I may stretch to 66 also. Sometimes it can go to 70 also. Only if I plan correctly that I have to write 6 questions in 60 minutes, then only at least I'll be able to complete in 66 minutes. That is why your initial plan for the 6 questions, which are 15 markers, that to be completed in the first 1 hour, right? If you can complete in 1 hour, you get 6 minutes extra. And those 6 minutes will become lifesaver towards the end. Now, why this 6 minutes is going to be very important? See, I tell you, students often say, so 6 minutes is very less. Okay, but that's not the case. When it comes to UPSC mains, 6 minutes is huge. 6 minutes can be one answer. And that can be 4 or 5 marks, even if regular one which you're writing. Right? Or it can be two partially attempted answers. 3 minutes each. Partially attempted answer. That can also be 4 to 6 marks. Or you can add any conclusion in couple of answers. Or you can add a diagram in multiple question in that 6 minutes. So these small time which you are saving, that can create massive score difference also. And see, in my opinion, there are many who will tell you that you can leave this question for time being and then come back. But even if you know partially, because see, if you know partially now, later also you know partially only. Beyond that, you're not going to get anything. So then itself you attempt, even if it is partially, attempt it. This is a common habit. You leave and come back. I'll come back later. I don't know this question, or I know partially only. That's a bad idea. Because when you come back, you need to locate the page, you need to locate the question, you need to restart your thinking, you need to understand the demand of the question again, and the context also you need to regain. So that is again wasting more time. Instead, when you see the question, I would say, if you don't know, you don't know. Then you don't have like the ping revolution. I don't know. Even if I come back, unless I got that brain fade for some time and it came to my memory, in that case, I can write later. Otherwise, if I know partially means now I know partially, later also I know partially. I don't have any time to recollect or anything. If I know partially, I have to write it now itself. Okay, so address the question immediately. Whatever you know, write that and then move ahead. Forget about that question then. The reason is, if you get stuck, if the momentum is stopped, then that is going to affect the rest of the question also. So keep writing. There is no need to come back to the one which you partially know. Even if you know partially, remember this, I know partially now, I will know only partially or even lesser than that after some time. Because after some time, I'll be in more disadvantage. I have to read the question again. I have to interpret the question again. I have to think about that again. So that is going to take another 1 minute extra. So now you have to write. On GS3, there is some exception. Okay. So this we discussed already, why 6 minutes matter. Okay. Now GS3 is slightly different. Why? Because GS3 have multiple unrelated subjects. You have economy, you have agriculture, you have science, you have environment, you have security. For example, you have disaster management, right? So all these are looking like clearly unrelated topics. So switching continuously between these topics can also create some kind of cognitive fatigue. So you can have a cluster method for GS3. What I mean by cluster method? Okay, see, when I talk about cluster method in GS3, that is why I told you GS3 is slightly an exception. A practical strategy when it comes to GS3 is write all economic questions together, right? And then write agriculture related, and then science and tech related, so that cognitive brain functioning. And this also give that momentum. To write economy, that momentum will be there. To write agriculture, that momentum, then environment, then security, because your brain remain in the same context. Otherwise, economy to science and technology, to disaster management, to internal security, to agriculture, then back to science and technology. So that is not good. So let the brain be in the same context, complete the economy areas, come to the agriculture, come to science and technology, come to disaster management, come to internal security, come to environment. So that basically improve your speed significantly. Otherwise, that is why I told you GS3 is an exception, because unrelated topics are there. Okay, now this I always tell you, thinking is more important than writing, because if you can think faster, writing will automatically become faster. So if you need to practice for something to improve your speed, it has to be practice for thinking faster, not to writing faster. If you already have the content, you will write naturally. Okay, so many students, think about writing speed and try to improve the writing speed, keep writing, but writing speed is not the real issue. Thinking speed is very, very much important, because if you take 3 minutes to think for a 15 marker, you have only 7 minutes to write, then you are already behind the schedule. So the goal is to think quickly, 1 minute to think and write in 9 minutes. So think quickly, immediately use structure, write clearly, and keep moving ahead. See, the best mains writers, they were not necessarily the fastest writers. They are the fastest thinkers. If you can think fast, you'll write fast naturally. Now, let me give you the time frame for a 15 marker. The ideal way to write is 1 minute you take for thinking, structure, and 9 to 10 minutes for writing. Max you can take is 10 minutes for writing. So complete entire process in 11 minutes maximum. Now, what if it is 10 marker? Just 30 seconds for thinking, because you don't want too much of content there. Naturally, the flow will be there, and 6 to 7 minutes for writing. And this discipline alone can transform your completion rates. Just stick to this. Whatever you can complete in this time, just complete it and leave it. Later, if you don't know anything, you can come and write this conclusion. That way you can take it. It's not necessary. Even if it is partially written, still it reward you. But you just miss a conclusion, may miss 1 mark. But if you are missing a question, you may miss 3, 4, 5 mark also. Right? So this is a time frame for 10 mark. Yeah. Now, how to practice before your mains? See, most students practice answer writing, but very few practice paper completion. You have to write in time, right? Because answer writing is different skill. Paper completion in time is also different skill. So you need to practice this, right? You must periodically sit and write. What? Full length test. In that 3 hours, that 20 questions, real timing, real pressure, real sequencing, because the exam test stamina also as much as your knowledge. Whether you're able to write for 3 hours, that is also required, and that practice is also required. Okay, so when I talk about paper completion, that does not come from motivation alone, right? Completion comes from a process. So there is a process. What is that? Fast thinking. If it is 15 marker, 1 minute to think. If it is a 10 marker, 30 minutes to think. Because 10 marker, content wise, you won't face much problem. 15 markers where you'll face the problem. Now, even in that case, 15 mark, initially I divide 5 dimension. I look for the 5 dimension. That is the first thought process. And 2-3 points in each dimension with one example. 10 marker, 4 dimensions. 1 point, 2 point with example, or 3 dimension. So fast thinking, if it is 10 marker, 30 seconds, 6-7 minutes for writing. If it is 15 marker, 1 minute, 10 minutes for writing. You need to have within that itself a clear structure. What should be my introduction? What should be the dimension? What is actually the demand of the examiner? So demand-based dimensions you need to bring in. Demand-based writing. So we are writing for the examiner. And strict time discipline. If I'm not able to complete that question in time, I just leave it then and there, move to the next question. If there is any time left, I'll come back. Don't think that I'm going to improve this and I'm going to get full mark in this and then only I'll get to the next. Stick to that time. Very, very important. You will understand the significance of this later. No question should be left behind, left unanswered, unless you have zero knowledge on that, like ping revolution, which I've told you. If you don't know, you don't know. There I cannot do anything, right? Because like, even if I write something, examiner no, he actually don't know about this. You are not going to get anything in that. Complete the paper, complete the paper, complete the paper. That's it. That's the game in mains. Remember always, attempted answers always have scoring potential. Just attempt, that itself will give you 1 to 4 marks. So knowledge matters only when it reaches the answer sheet. You have the same knowledge as the first ranker. There is no difference in the content. Why I'm telling this is because Kiran, 53rd rank, his knowledge is not improved from last year to this year. Last year is nowhere in the list. His friend Sachin got it. That time both had the same knowledge only. Sachin got 41st rank. The presentation, what is there in the paper is what matters. This year he did it. What Sachin did, 5,000 answers he have written. That's the practice, intense practice. You cannot fail, man, if you do that. Kiran, this year after prelims, you look at my podcast with him. He wrote 1,000 answers. After mains, just 3 months, 1,000 answers. So UPSC mains, knowledge matters, of course. Content definitely matters. Without content, you can't do anything. But presentation is more important when it comes to mains. Right? Knowledge matters, content matters, presentation matters. But if you are presenting 1, 2, 3 answer very good, rest of them is left, then whether the presentation is also matter? No. The knowledge doesn't matter if you are not completing the paper. So all these knowledge matter, presentation matter, content matter, everything matters only if you have completed the paper. Nothing, none of them matter if the answer is never written, right? So an average answer that is attempted itself will fetch you some mark. There is a hope at least. But an unanswered one, 0 mark, guaranteed 0. A brilliant answer that remains in your mind but not written, 0. So that is why strict time management is essential. So train yourself to think faster, write cleaner, proper structure, control time, and most importantly, stress on this, complete your paper. Because many aspirants, they do not fail because they lack knowledge. I have enough and more examples. These guys would have cleared exam before if they completed the paper. They fail because they left marks on table. Simple. And the simplest way to gain those marks is what? Make sure that every question receives an answer and gets some marks. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you got some idea. I see you in the next video. Thank you so much.